Anxothotl, and I welcome you all to today's workshop. And today's topic is the one that I think a lot of us have actually lived through personally. Why do we fall for people that confuse us? So you know that one person who texts you back after what, like 3 days, and somehow that actually makes you like them more for some unknown reason. And yes, we're getting into all of that stuff today. So thank you so much all for joining. And now I'd like to introduce our speaker. And honestly, at this point, she needs no introduction with the number of workshops she's done with us. She's been so consistent. I really appreciate her, honestly. So, welcome, Guneet, back to Anxothotl's workshop. And thank you so much for being here. And I think we can get into it.
Okay, hello everyone. Um, Give me a thumbs up in the chat if all of you can hear what I'm saying. Okay, perfect. So, welcome everyone. I'm really glad that all of you are here. So, I want to start with something super simple since RV has already introduced the topic to you all. I'm going to describe a situation, and I just want you to tell me honestly if you relate. um, just think that there's someone in your life, could be right now or it could be in the past, someone who you genuinely cannot figure out. One day they're really great, and the next day it's like you just don't exist for them. And the confusing part is, the more they confuse you, the more you think about them. Does that sound familiar? Just type yes or no in the chat quickly. Guys, don't tell me you've never felt that. Just type yes or no. Maybe a little. No, no. Surprisingly, I am a yes. So, okay. Anyways, we'll still get into this. Um, that's exactly what we're here to talk about, because this happens to literally everyone. I don't know if you guys are not admitting, or maybe it has not happened to you, but it does happen. It might happen to you in your future, or maybe you just cannot recognize that it happened to you. And the thing is that nobody literally explains you that why this happens, like why that person specifically, and why confusion feels so intense, why just move on never actually works. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to actually get into the psychology of it, what's happening in your brain, why it happens, and what you can actually do about it. Okay, let me get to the next slide. Okay, let me start broad. I'm sorry, I have a sore throat. Like, genuinely broad. I'm talking about human psychology at large. Okay, I have a question for you guys. Would you rather have a guaranteed 500 rupee note or a 50-50 chance at getting 2,000 rupees? Just type A for 500 and B for the gamble. Like, what would you choose? 500 rupees or a 50-50 possibility of getting 2,000? B, Tamanna. Look, a gamble. Yeah. Ayush. B, Shrishti. What would you choose, Arvi? Okay, guys. Honestly, even I would choose B. What would you choose, Arvi? Okay. So the thing is that okay, the thing is that most people, when you actually test this in psychology labs, yeah, so it's a mixture, right? Arush said A. He would choose the 500. Okay. The thing is, when you actually test this in psychology labs, most people go for the gamble. Like, it happened here as well. Most of us went for the gamble. Even when the math says that the guaranteed option is smarter, it's good for you. But yeah, we still just choose the gamble. And that is your first clue. Humans are terrible at choosing certainty when uncertainty feels exciting. We are literally wired to chase possibility over guarantee, right? This isn't just a romantic thing. It's actually like a human thing. Whenever there is possibility and certainty, we will always choose possibility, because what if, right? And there's a famous concept in psychology called the uncertainty principle of attraction. Yes, guys, it's a psychological principle, not a physics principle. So, um, this actually means that we value things more when their outcome is uncertain. A study by researchers at the University of Virginia found that women actually felt more attraction, and they thought more about men that they did not know if, you know, they thought about the men that they did not know like them. Like, they were confused if they like them or not. So women actually think about them more, in comparison to knowing, in comparison to thinking about guys that they know, that like them. They will think about the one which they are not sure about. Yeah, so not knowing made them more interested in those men. Why? Because uncertainty keeps your brain engaged. When something is figured out, right, when something is solved, your brain is just like, it flies it away and it just moves on. But when something is unsolved, your brain obsesses over it, like it literally obsesses over it. um okay, there's actually a name for this thing. Let me get to third slide. Yeah, it's called the Zygarnik effect. He's a Russian psychologist. His name is Bluma Zygarnik, and he noticed in the 1920s that waiters could remember every single uncompleted order perfectly. But once the order was done, once it was served, once it was paid for, the order used to vanish from their memory. That's the thing. Your brain holds on to unfinished things tighter than the finished ones. Now apply this to the people. Someone who's consistent, warm, clear about their feelings for you, that's a completed order. And your brain goes like, okay, done, move on, right? But when someone there's but let's say there's someone who texts you a paragraph one day, leaves you on read for 3 days, and someone who laughs with you for 2 hours and then just acts like you both are strangers. That's an open tab, and your brain refuses to close that tab. And this right here is where it starts. It's not love at first sight with that confusing person. It's actually psychology. It's obsession by design. And your brain is doing it to itself. It's not love. Okay. Um let me get into the science. Yeah. Um is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Yeah. Okay. Um this is going to be interesting science. Trust me, guys. Type it in the chat. I want you guys to type it in the chat. How many of you have ever checked someone's view on your Instagram story, and the second like the second you put your story, and like just to see if they watched the story, like just type it yes or no. It can be anyone. It can be a relative, a family member, a cousin. Shrishti never checks her story views. Wow, amazing. Yes, Tamanna. Yes. Okay, just type yes or like yeah, okay. Ayush does. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So, let's say, um, yeah, okay. So you guys, all of you do, right? Because, uh, it is really like, I mean, it's there's like a lot about it. You just cannot think like it's not that deep. Yeah, checking someone's view on our story. Why you check it? Because you feel an urge, like you feel you feel the urge to check it if they watched it, and once you see that they watched it, you feel like there's a spike of something in your mind, like yeah, they did it. And that literal spike is called dopamine. Okay, I'll tell you what dopamine is. I'm pretty sure some of you might have come across this term on Instagram, or maybe in your psychology class or something like that. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. It's a chemical in your brain, and here's the big myth about it. You guys need to know, listen to me clearly, because there's a quiz which is gonna come along, and I mean, if you guys will listen to me properly, you will be able to get a 10 on 10 in that. Okay, so most people think that dopamine is released when you get the reward, when you get something good, when you receive the reward. But that is wrong. Research from neuroscientist Schultz, I've written his name, I just cannot pronounce it, I don't know. Okay, so he showed that dopamine is actually released in anticipation of a reward. When you expect, the expecting, the waiting, the maybe, and that's when dopamine floods your system, not when you get the thing, when you might get the thing, when there is possibility again, when there is uh, uncertainty that you might get that thing, that's when dopamine rushes into your system. So think about what this means for that confusing person. When someone is consistent and kind to you, your brain gets a small steady stream of dopamine, comfortable, stable, yeah, like it's predictable कि वो मेरे साथ अच्छे ही हैं, वो जो भी whoever that person is, the person is good with me, I know that, I'm comfortable with that, it's very predictable. But when someone is inconsistent, he uh he or she is hot one day and cold, like he's cold, like, one day they're like all warm and nice to you, and the next day they just go cold. Sometimes they're incredible, sometimes I don't know, they're just completely absent. That's when your brain is in consistent anticipation mode. Every you just think every notification can be them, right? Because you're expecting. Every blue tick is like a big deal for you because you're basically living in a dopamine slot machine. I'll explain you what exactly a slot machine works like. But yeah, you obsess over it because you think, you anticipate a lot of things, you expect this might happen, I mean, it might be him, it might be her, like that. Okay, let me get you to the next slide. Yeah. Okay, what exactly a slot machine does? Have you all, like, has any one of you been to a casino or maybe seen a casino in some movies or on Instagram, something like that? Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Do you know what a casino is? Yeah. Okay. So seen them. Yeah. So people gamble in casinos, right? We know that. So there's a slot machine in there. It's a very important metaphor in this entire presentation, so just listen to me carefully. A slot machine pays out randomly, not on every time. Like, you have to pull a lever, okay, and sometimes the slot machine will pay you, sometimes it will not, sometimes never, sometimes twice in a row. And because of that randomness, people cannot stop pulling the lever, and which is why casinos are billion-dollar industries, and they are built on this one psychological trick. The psychological term for this is variable ratio reinforcement. Yeah, it's a very fancy and long word, but trust me, it's just simple for you guys to understand it. It's the most addictive reward schedule that exists. Okay, I don't know if you guys know that there are reward systems that exist in psychology. There are basically three types of them. First one is positive, second one is variable ratio reinforcement, and the third one is negative. पॉजिटिव में क्या होता है, you are getting a reward on every action you're doing. You did that, you're getting the reward, you did that, you're getting the reward. On the negative one, no matter what you're doing, you're not getting the reward. No matter if you're performing good, if you're performing bad, it won't work, you will not get anything. Then comes the variable ratio reinforcement. कभी मिल गया, कभी नहीं मिला, कभी मिल गया, दो बार मिल गया, तीन बार नहीं मिला, एक बार मिल गया, चार बार नहीं मिला. It's like that. It's very unpredictable and random, and it's more addictive than getting rewarded every time or never getting rewarded. It's very addictive. The unpredictability is what makes it impossible to walk away from it. Okay, now let's replace this slot machine with that one kind of a person that you feel is very, very confusing in your life. Or maybe you might encounter such a person in future, because it's impossible that you will never encounter such a person in life. Once in your life, you will definitely encounter such a person. So let's think that the slot machine is that person. Sometimes they're incredible, sometimes they go cold, and sometimes you get the best conversation of your life, and sometimes they just don't even pay attention to you, they just ignore you. You never know which version you are going to get. So your brain, your incredibly smart brain, it keeps pulling the lever. Not because you're weak, not because you lack self respect, but because you are a human being whose brain is evolved to chase variable rewards. Because even like in the wild, like our ancestors, like back in the days, Stone Age era, how did they survive? They used to hunt the animals that might be there in the forest, not the ones that they already caught, right? That's how they survived, and that's how that's what we have evolved from. That's what we are. Just a second. Okay. So okay, I explained all of this to you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much sense is this making to you guys? Just type it in the chat. Is it even making sense to you guys? 5, 9. It is. Yep. Okay. So you guys are getting what exactly is partial reinforcement, right? Okay. Let's get deeper into this. Yeah. Okay. Now we are going to put a name to the thing that's probably happened to almost everyone in this call. It's called intermittent reinforcement, and it is honestly one of the most powerful psychological forces that exist in human relationships. So, here is how it works in real life. Like I've explained it to you. Someone treats you really well, you feel seen, you feel special, and then nothing. They just pull back. Maybe they are cold, maybe they just disappear, they ghost you, and you will feel confused, anxious, and a little rejected. And then they come back warmer than ever. You feel relieved, you feel excited and grateful, right? The cycle is warmth withdrawal. This cycle is called intermittent reinforcement, and it creates emotional dependency faster than almost anything else. Okay, so this is the cycle that creates emotional dependency. Okay, moving on to the next slide. When you are in an intermittent reinforcement cycle, the good moments, they don't just feel good, they feel amazing, because they are a relief from the anxiety of the withdrawal period. When you are in the withdrawal, when that person has come back from you, and when you are in you know anxious zone, like you're feeling anxious that they've withdrawn from you, then that person comes back warmer than ever. You feel amazing, even though you're supposed to feel like good, like fine, like normal, but you feel amazing. Like, I'll give you an example. Let's say someone is tickling you. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, let's say someone is tickling you, and they're tickling you for good 20 seconds, 20, 30 seconds, and then they stop. You'll feel relieved. While in reality, that's your normal state, right? You will feel very good and like, yeah, like at least they stopped. Like, you'll feel like that. And that's the thing. The contrast, it does the work, because you are at extremes in both senses. You are at extremes. Like, either they are withdrawn from you or they are totally normal for you, right? So when that confusing person finally texts back, or finally is warm with you and sweet with you, the relief plus the dopamine plus the thing that we do, I knew it was real, and that feeling, that hits like nothing else, and your brain files that away as this person is the best feeling that I've ever had, while you were just feeling normal, because it's just a break from that anxiety. And statistically, most of the time that person was causing you distress only. Okay. um it can be in friendships, it can be in relationships, it can be even in your family, maybe with your parents or your siblings or anything. Have you ever felt more attracted to someone after they pulled back, or after they ignored you, or after you went through a ghosting phase of long time? Just type yes or no. It can be with friends, with siblings, with cousins, with anything. Just type yes or no. No. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. You have not. None of you guys have, but you might in the future. So, okay. Yeah, I see. Has everyone typed down their response? Mm, okay. Anyways, let's just move to the next slide. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna give you guys. It varies on the person's personality. Saying nothing. I actually cannot read all of that because I have a small. Can you read it out, RV?
What I'm saying is that it varies on the person's personality, like, however people are. And I'm not saying anything for myself, but to be honest, I do think that being too available kind of makes people value you less. Is that true? What do you think?
Yeah, because that's what the thing is, right? We discussed it in the starting that when you know how a person feels about you, when when they're stable in your life, your brain just thinks, yeah, they're like a permanent thing in my life. So what? Move on. Like your brain just kinds of values them less, right? That's what it does. And when there's uncertainty, you obsess over it, and yeah, that's what we discussed. Yeah, exactly. That's really a nice point. Sounds true, but I don't. You don't what? Endorse it. Oh, like you don't want people to do it. Maybe I don't know. Like, what do you mean? I didn't get you. Okay. Um. Anyways, so I'm gonna tell you guys three patterns. Okay. Uh, I'm gonna read it out for you guys. Okay. So I think what he's saying is that he doesn't agree with the availability thingy. Oh, I see. Yeah, but then it's kind of true that stability makes your brain think that it's boring, and you just don't value that anymore. Okay. Anyways, let's move on to this one. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys three patterns. Just listen to me properly. The first one is the almost relationship. You talk every day for weeks, you have deep conversations, you have inside jokes, and it feels like something, and then one day they go quiet. They ghost you. You don't know what you did. When they come back, you're just happy that they're back. So you never bring it up. You never talk about why they went and blah, blah, blah. So that cycle keeps repeating. The second pattern is the mixed signals person. In person, when you meet them, they're amazing. They're laughing, you have eye contact, and the whole thing. But when you're online, they barely respond. Or maybe the other way around. When you're online, you guys are talking nicely. But when you guys meet, they don't talk to you, they ignore you. So every time you're together in person or maybe online, you think that, yeah, this is real. But then every time they ghost you, you're like, I don't know. Were you imagining it and stuff? Okay. Then there's the other pattern, the I'm not ready loop. Okay. They like you, they say that they like you, but they are not in the right headspace, so they're figuring things out, or maybe they're focusing on their career and stuff, excuses. So you wait and you hope and you interpret every small thing as a sign. So and sometimes they give you some signs which feel like, yeah, it was worth it to wait for him or her. So all of these three patterns, these are intermittent reinforcement. Up down, up down, up down. They're just having a different packaging and the same mechanism. It's just like Coke, Pepsi, and thumbs up, if you guys want to have an example. And here's what I want you guys to understand. The person doing this isn't always doing this deliberately. Like, they're not doing it on purpose. Sometimes they just genuinely don't know what they want, and sometimes they're dealing with their own problems. Sometimes they have an avoidant attachment style, and we'll talk about attachment styles in a while. But regardless of why they're doing it, the effect on your brain is the same. Okay. Uh, mm, yeah. Mm, okay. Has any one of you, been in such a cycle? Just type yes or no. And if yes, okay, Shushti says no. Yes. Okay. So Tamanna said yes. So, Tamanna, how long did it take you, or maybe if not you, then maybe someone else who might have gone through this, to finally be done with someone in this cycle? Like, just type the time, maybe like days, months, years, anything, or maybe you still not are over it. A week maximum. Oh, that's amazing. You realize, but a week is still a lot of time, right? Like 7 days is not less, right? Yeah. So this is powerful because even if it made you get stuck on it for a week. Oh, Irish for Irish it took years. Amazing. I mean, not amazing. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's how powerful it is. It might take you weeks, days, months, years, though it was stuck in my mind for months. No, no, it's not amazing. I mean, I was just shocked, like years. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so strong. This kind of reinforcement is so strong that I personally think an empty mind misses no one. Keeps yourself busy with you, even just for regular overthinking. Yeah, but Arvi, you have to process your emotions. You can't just snub them. They'll come back stronger. You always have to process your emotions. Yeah. Okay. So this is why the advice, that is just get over it or move on, is genuinely one of the most useless pieces of advice on the planet, because you are not dealing with preference, you're in a neurological loop, and it is much 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 deeper than just move on. Okay. Okay. This is very wait. Let's get to the next one. Yeah, the attachment styles. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, let's. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's go a layer deeper, because intermittent reinforcement explains the cycle, but attachment theory explains why some people are way more susceptible to it than others, and why we tend to be drawn to the same kind of confusing person over and over again. Attachment theory was developed by a psychologist called Bobley in the 1960s, and later expanded by Mary Ainsworth. The basic idea is that the way you were cared for as a child creates a template for how you expect and experience love as an adult. Okay, there are four kind of attachment styles, and I'm going to give you the Gen Z version. Okay, so there are four types. The first one is, I'll just show you the next slide. Yeah, there are four types: secure, anxious, avoidant, and fearful avoidant. So, the secure attachment, the ideal, it's kind of ideal. Honestly, these people grew up with caregivers who were consistent, responsive, present, and as teens and as adults, they're comfortable with closeness, they are comfortable with space, they don't spiral when someone doesn't text them back immediately. They're basically emotionally very strong people, and they communicate directly, and they're kind of like unknowingly healthy because like they're emotionally strong, right? So the next one is the anxious attachment. Their early caregivers were inconsistent. Again, like I'm asking you guys to like listen to me properly, because there's a quiz up for you all. So in the anxious attachment style, their caregivers were inconsistent. Sometimes they were very warm, sometimes they were not. So as kids, they just learned that I need to be really tuned in to this person to figure out when they will be available. And as adults, they're hyper aware of their partner's mood, they overthink everything, they need a lot of reassurance, and they're not clingy. They're like calibrated for an inconsistent environment. Okay. Then the next one is the avoidant attachment. Their early caregivers were emotionally unavailable or uh, discouraged emotional expression. So they learned that depending on people hurts. And I will rely on myself. That's where the independence thing comes from. They're like, yeah, I will rely on myself. I don't care if anybody does this or does that. And as adults, they pull back when things get close. They're not cold on purpose, of course. Nobody likes to be cold on purpose. But, closeness is very overwhelming to them and it can overstimulate them. So they are usually the most confusing people, the ones with the avoidant attachment. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Then there is the fearful avoidant, the disorganized. It's a mixture of anxious and avoidant. They want closeness, but they fear it at the same time, and it often results of more and it is a result of more complex early experience in the childhood. So yeah, that's okay. Let's get into the anxious avoidant type. This is kind of interesting. Okay. Hmm. So, anxious attachment plus avoidant attachment is the most intense and the most confusing and addictive dynamic possible. The anxious person chases closeness. The avoidant person in you, it pulls back when the things get too close. The anxious person chases harder and the avoidant pulls back more. The anxious person finally backs off. The avoidant just suddenly feels, safe now that the distance comes back. And just keeps happening. And like, even let's say there are like two types of people. One of them has an anxious style and the other one has an avoidant style. So it's very conflicting because one of them is constantly asking for reassurance and the other one is just like ghosting them and like pulling back, even though they both love each other so much. Still this cycle just goes on and it gets very, very toxic. Okay, so I have explained to you all the four attachment slides. Let me get back to yeah. Which attachment style do you all think you have? Like, you can, it can be the secure one, the anxious one, the avoidant one, or the fearful avoidant, or maybe you just don't have an idea, or you're still figuring it out. Just type it down. Which one do you think? Not sure. Okay, Ayush says no. Oh, nobody of you is sure. Okay, not sure. Not sure. Nobody's sure. Anxious. Yeah, okay. Well, I think many of you are pretty sure about it. I mean, you're just maybe secure and fearful avoidant. Uh, you just maybe you may be scared that we might judge you. Even I am. I'm not gonna tell you guys which one I have. Okay. Anyways, let's move. Yeah. Okay, so the one thing I want you guys to know, even that if you guys think that we're going to judge your attachment style, the main thing is that you did not choose your attachment style. It just comes to you naturally. And uh, like, it is not your fault. It is a response that your nervous system developed based on your early experiences, and it can change. Attachment styles, they're not like permanent, they can change with awareness, but you can't change what you don't see. So you need to be firstly aware, you need to be aware of what kind of attachment style you have in order to change it. um okay. The moment you recognize your own pattern is the moment you go, oh, I'm the one who chases, or oh, I'm the one who runs. So you have something, you know very powerful, and that is called awareness, like I said. And awareness is the beginning of everything. You need to be aware in order to make changes. Okay, let's get to the next one. How do I get you to the next one? Yeah, okay. Mm, Hmm. Okay. So, social media. We've talked about your brain, we've talked about childhood patterns, and now let's talk about the thing that is actively pouring fuel on all of this, which is social media, the root cause of everything these days. Okay. So, mm, 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 how many of you have stalked someone in the last 24 hours without texting them, or maybe in the last 1 week? Not me. Shrishti says no, 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 no. Okay, maybe not in the last 24 hours. Have you ever stalked anyone in your life without texting them? Like just checking their social media, checking their Instagram, their Snapchat, the WhatsApp, everything. Of course. I have in last 24 hours. Yup, 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 yup. Okay. That's kind of Shrishti, come on. Everyone does that. Okay, but I think Srishti is like very strong emotionally. Anyways, so yeah, okay. So yeah, even I have stalked people and I have lost count of how many times I've done that. So yeah, that's the thing about social media and confusing people, how it is correlated. Social media gives you a window without giving you access. You can see what they're posting, you can see if they have watched your story, you can see if they are active, uh, you can see who they are posting stories with. So, and that window, that creates a constant loop of interpretation, right? uh let's say you've texted them yesterday and they've not replied to you, but they're posting a story. So you will think they're active but they're not replying, are they ignoring me? And maybe they posted a sad song, so is it about me? They posted a quote, is it about me? So yeah, like you just are confused totally always, that what does it mean, what does this mean, what does that mean, right? So that's the thing. Social media also does something really specific. It shows you the highlight reel of the confusing person, their best photos, their funniest posts, the version of them they want the world to see, right? So I mean, we put pretty filtered stuff on social media, right? The happy stuff, the achievements and everything. So you get a window without an access. You just constantly keep checking. And yeah, and yeah, I mean, okay. Mm-mm-mm. So since you are trapped in this loop, your life experience of them is confusing and inconsistent. But their online presence is very polished and very nice, and your brain blends these two things into one person who is somehow both frustrating and amazing. So because you think they're very frustrating with me, they're like very irritating when they talk to me, or they're like very confusing, but then on their social media they're acting all nice and stuff. So you're just not falling for who they are, you're just falling for a composite, like a real person mixed with a curated persona mixed with your own projections. Because Instagram, your social media, is a curated persona, and you just mix a lot of things and you just like keep thinking stuff. Okay, let's go. There's one more thing we need to talk about here. The way TikTok and Reels in particular have completely romanticized confusion in relationships. How many times have you seen a TikTok that's like, if they make you feel crazy, it means the connection is intense, or I mean, not TikTok, like Reels. Yeah, I don't know why I call it TikTok. So, or the right person will make you feel unhinged, or literally, entire aesthetics built around longing for someone unavailable, and all this stuff, right? You have, right? All of you just come across such Reels, like if he wanted to, he would, and all this stuff, right? Just give me a thumbs up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yearning. Yeah. And then there's like the emotional relationship aesthetic. They don't text back, but when they do it, it hits different. And the sad indie music over a screenshot of being left red, like all this stuff. Yeah, okay. Has a reel ever made you feel like being confused by someone was actually romantic? I am kind of embarrassed to say yes. Has it? Like, no, I just scrolled past. So it means it makes you something, makes you feel something. That's why you scroll past. Is it? Okay. Okay. Not that, but reels do give me intense emotions sometimes. Yeah, no lol. I avoid those reels as, how do you pronounce that? Mush, I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay. So yeah, I have felt like that. Sorry. So, okay, here's the thing. I'm not blaming you guys for consuming that content, and it's like it's everywhere. You just can't accept. You just can't escape it, right? But what it does is it normalizes. I really feel social media is kind of depressing. It is, which is why many of like Gen Z people, they're leaving. They're like leaving social media, and yeah, that's kind of good as well. But what it does, it normalizes confusion. Social media, it normalizes confusion as a sign of depth. It teaches you that stable and consistent is boring and chaos means passion. You must have heard that thing from a couple maybe, that, oh, we have gone through so much, we have had so many fights, and we're still together, like that's the point. Like, have you heard that, right? Like, we ghosted each other for 6 months and now we're together again for the fourth time, and stuff like that. Yeah, right, it happens a lot, right? Yeah, seen it. See, finally Shrishti agreed with us. Thank you, Shrishti. Okay. So, and that is genuine. I was just kidding though. Yeah, and that is a genuinely harmful idea that content creators are accidentally or maybe deliberately selling to millions of teenagers. Real depth doesn't require confusion always. Real passion doesn't require you to feel anxious. There are good and happy relationships that exist out there without, you having to be, you having to go through a lot, right? That's not romance, that's like anxiety, which is just mislabeled. Okay. So, quiz time. Okay. Arvi, can you drop the link in the chat?
Yes, just give me a second. I accidentally lost it, so I just need to find it.
Yeah, okay, sure. Are you all ready for the quiz? Just give me a thumbs up. It's just a Google form. You'll get your score instantly. Yay! Tamanna, Ayush, Ishika, Ashwin, everyone.
Okay, I
Everyone's
got
ready?
it, and I'm dropping it in the chat box. I've dropped it actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So I will be reading out the questions. Just give me a thumbs up once you've all opened it. There are questions written in there as well, but I'll still be reading it out so that we can all be on the same pace. So all of you just answer, and then we move on to the next one. Are we ready? Okay, I'm gonna start. I'm pretty sure you all have opened it. The first question is, what does dopamine do in attraction? Number one, it releases when you get a reward. Number two is that it releases in anticipation of reward. Number three, it makes you sleepy. Number four, it controls hunger. Okay, I'm pretty sure you have written the answer. The next one. The Zygarnik effect says that we remember dash better. Happy memories, incomplete things, things from childhood, things we repeat. Okay, next one. Which reward schedule is the most addictive one? Always getting rewarded, never getting rewarded, getting rewarded unpredictably, and getting rewarded every third time. Okay, next one. What does intermittent reinforcement mean? Working out with breaks, inconsistent rewards that create emotional dependency, being nice all the time, and studying in intervals. And yeah, which one? Okay. Mm-mm-mm. The next one. Which attachment style tends to pull back when closeness increases? Secure, anxious, avoidant, confused. The sixth one is, I hope we are all on the same page, right? The sixth one is the anxious attachment style often develops from dash early caregiving. Anxious attachment style. Strict, absent, inconsistent, overprotective. Okay, I can see one of you have already given the response. Okay. Anyways, social media makes confusion worse because it gives you a dash without access. I think I've said it like 10 times. Oh, I'm sorry, my battery. Um, a shortcut, a window, a mirror, a direct line. Okay, the next one. A slot machine is an example of which psychological concept? The Zygarnik effect, the dopamine release, the attachment theory, and the variable ratio reinforcement. The ninth is TikTok and Reels. Uh, yeah, sorry. TikTok and Reels tend to romanticize which relationship dynamic? Consistency, confusion with unavailability, honest communication, healthy boundaries. Okay. The last one is your attachment style is fixed forever, your fault, a learned pattern, only formed in adulthood. Okay, I'm gonna give you like one more minute so that you guys can type it down, and till then I'll just grab my charger. Give me a sec. Okay, I'm so sorry. I had to get my charger. I think it's done. I have gotten 9 responses. Amazing. So the average points are 8.7. Let me just get, yeah. Okay. So, how do I get to know each person's answer? How much of you? How much did you all score? Just type it in the chat. I felt three wrong. 9, 10, 10, 8. I feel three wrong. Listen, I'm really sorry, but I have to go and submit my resume for my application, so I have to go. I apologize for being here so less. Oh, it's fine, Ashwin. I hope you enjoyed it. Did you? Yeah, give it to me. Come. 8 on 10, I joined late. It's fine. It's amazing. Okay, so I hope you all just enjoyed this. I hope you did. Did you all enjoy it? Just give me a thumbs up, guys. Yep. That is pretty amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen again, and then we'll just wrap up quickly. There's like a few slides left. I'll just give me a sec. Mm, yeah. I hope it is visible. Is it? Okay. Next one. All right. So this section is the one which I really care about because every presentation that I've sat through on this topic ends with something like "know your worth" or like "the right person won't confuse you" and stuff. But today we are going to do it differently. I'm going to give you five actual tools, concrete, specific, and things you can literally start using this week itself or maybe today itself. So, yeah, let's get started. I'm gonna give you like good tools. Is yeah. Okay. Name the pattern out loud. When you catch yourself in a confusion and spiral, in a confusion spiral, when you have read the same conversation maybe 14 times, trying to decode it, just stop and say out aloud or write it in your notes that my brain is in a dopamine anticipation loop right now. Whenever you are confused about such things like, I don't know what he means, I don't know what she means, I don't know what she's up to, just stop and just tell yourself that your brain is in a dopamine anticipation loop right now, and my brain is expecting something good to happen, which will apparently just like not happen, which will probably not happen, right? So this kind of sounds ridiculous, but it's kind of slightly ridiculous. But the thing is that naming what's happening in your brain, it activates your prefrontal cortex, and which is the rational part of the brain, if you don't know, and it weakens the hold of the emotional spiral. So it, kind of stops you from thinking irrationally. Okay. And the psychologists, they call it affect labeling, putting words to what you're feeling and what you exactly are feeling. That literally reduces its intensity in your nervous system, which is why awareness is a very, very strong thing. And studies by Matthew Lieberman at UCLA showed that naming an emotion reduces amygdala, how do you pronounce that? Oh my god, I'm sorry. Activation, and which is the anxiety fear center of your brain, if you have read that in 10th class biology. So you're not suppressing the feeling, you're just giving it a name instead of letting it run you. Try this week. Try it like this week, and the next time you're obsessing over someone's story or a message that did not come, say, this is variable reinforcement doing its thing, and then just do something else for 20 minutes. You'll just forget it. Okay, let's move to the next one, which is tool number two. I'm sorry. How do I get to the next slide? Okay. So this is tool number two, the pattern audit. This one kind of requires your maybe your notes app or your notebook or a journal or your journal. So think of the last two or three people you were really into, or maybe one, whatever. So especially the confusing ones, and write it down. That how did they make you feel day to day? You can even take a screenshot of this. So how did they make you feel day to day, and not the highlights, just like the average Tuesday, like normal, like on a normal day, not on the days which were like full of glitz and glamour and happy days. Like, no, not the like the average days. Were you mostly calm, or were you mostly anxious or excited or on the edge? Then look at the pattern across the people, because most of us have a type. We all do. And it's not a physical type, it's a feeling type, like the way you feel with that person. We're drawn to the same emotional dynamic in different packaging. Once you can see the pattern, you can start asking, is this exciting because it's real or because it's familiar? familiarity and rightness feel identical in your body. This audit helps you tell them apart. Okay. I'm going to quickly ask you something. If you had to describe your type in terms of how they make you feel, not how they look, what's the word? Maybe special, nervous, seen, confused. How do they make you feel? Like if you have a type, safe, safe. Okay. Like secure, you mean? Yeah. Comfortable. Mm-hmm. That's what you are telling me consciously, but like subconsciously, what are you chasing? Do you chase people who make you nervous, or do you chase the one who makes you feel like you're the best in the world, like special, or the ones who make you feel seen? Okay, I'm pretty sure all of you just chase the ones which make you feel secure and give you like reassurance and all that stuff, and make you feel safe, comfortable. Yeah. So see, those are your data points. You need to understand what your type is, and you need to tell yourself that, yeah, I mean, you need to be aware of it. Okay. Tool number 3, raise the floor and not the ceiling. Okay, here's something that nobody tells you when we evaluate people we are interested in. We almost always judge them by their best moments, the ceiling, and we focus on the positive part of them, right? That's that one perfect conversation you had, or maybe that first impression you had, the time they said exactly the right thing. You judge them on basis of that, but the person you're actually in a relationship with is determined by their floor. How do they treat you on an average day? When things are a bit stressful, how do they treat you? When there's nothing to gain, how do they treat you? So start paying attention to the floor instead of the ceiling. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a very, I mean, it's known as a very good habit of a person if they always focus on the positive of another person. But trust me guys, if you are in a relationship and you need to evaluate your partner, you need to focus on the floor, on the negatives as well, on how they make you feel on an average day. The floor is where you live. That's the thing. Okay. A confusing person often has an incredibly high ceiling. When they're good, they're incredible, they're like amazing. But when they are like, let's talk about their floor. Their floor is anxiety and uncertainty and waiting. Like, that's what they are. And just because of the ceiling, we keep choosing them again and again and again, because we constantly anticipate that they will act like the ceiling again. A consistent person's ceiling might not make your heart race. I mean, it's not that amazing, like it's not too good. But their floor is always steady. And that steadiness, when you've been living on a roller coaster, it feels like home in a way that you might not expect. I'm sorry. Okay. So yeah, you need to focus on the floor, because that's where you're going to live, not on the ceiling. Okay. Let's get to the next tool, that is rebuild your tolerance for the boring and the good. Things do get boring, guys. This is the hardest one, because your nervous system is calibrated. If you've been in a lot of confusing dynamics, whether the people, friendships, or even just like vibes at your home, then calm feels boring. Like, some people, there are some people you might have come across, or maybe on the internet. मेरी लाइफ में मुझे तो कलेश करने में बहुत मजा आता है. I mean, I'm a कलेशी औरत and all this stuff. Like, this is kind of going very trendy on Instagram and stuff. So because to them calm feels very boring, so they just want things to just like go like a heartbeat, like up and down, up and down, up and down, just like that. And to them stable feels very flat, but that's not a preference. That's not their preference. It's actually a dysregulation. Because the work here is gradual. It means choosing friends who are consistent and noticing how that feels over time. It means, being in environments. Boring is stable, Guneet, last workshop. Yeah, 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 yeah. We discussed that in the last workshop. If any one of you was present there, they might know. Okay. um It means being in environments where you're not on the edge and letting your body learn that this is safe. It means, and I know this sounds weird, practicing being okay with things being okay. I mean, you need to practice to be okay with things that are okay. You don't always need things to be on the edge, and you don't always need excitement. Not every good things needs to be intense to be real. Okay, it can feel normal, stable, fine. Okay, not everything worth keeping needs to make you feel crazy. Just like RV said, boring is stable. Okay, the next tool is the last tool that we have. I'm gonna get you to the slide. Yeah, talk to an actual human. I know this is I mean, this is the one that everyone skips, but I mean it. Trust me. You can talk to anyone, maybe a trusted adult, or maybe a friend who's good at being honest with you, but a friend who doesn't judge you and who doesn't go around telling your gossip to other people. So a trusted friend, and or maybe a therapist if you have one. And you need to talk about all of this stuff, and talking about these patterns out loud does something that thinking alone cannot do. Trust me, guys, talking to a friend really helps. Like, it really helps. And it externalizes what's been looping internally, and it gives you perspective you literally cannot give to yourself. I cannot think of you literally cannot think 360 degree. Even if you think that you can, you cannot. You always need to have other people's take on things, but make sure that the other people are the trusted ones. And for everyone that is present here, your attachment style, your patterns, your history, none of it is permanent. People change these things with the time, with awareness, with support, and you know with just time. Time changes everything. And the fact that you are in this session right now means that you're already doing half of the work. I'm sorry. Okay. um okay, guys, I want you guys to tell me like just one thing that hit differently in this session, something that was like eye opening to you. Just tell me, like, if you have anything, something you loved, something you were like, oh yeah, I was missing out on that. Just tell me in the chat. What was the best part about this section, about this session? Sorry, was there something even nice about the session, guys?
Okay, so I think we can conclude this session now.
Yeah, we can. I mean, there's a little left for me to talk about, if you don't mind.
Oh,
I
not at
mean,
all. I actually had to go away for like 2 minutes, so I'm really sorry about that. Please continue.
yeah, okay, you can go. We'll take like 4 or 5 minutes, 3 4 minutes. Love the whole session, especially the quiz. Oh, nice, Tamanna. Thank you. Took me a lot of time to make that quiz. Sorry. Okay, so okay, so I'll get you to the next slide. Me too. Okay, Ayush. Thank you. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, let's bring it all the way back. You fall for confusing people because your brain is wired to chase uncertainty. Because because dopamine spikes hit hard in anticipation and not in arrival of the reward, because variable reinforcement is the most addictive pattern that exists. Because your attachment history wrote a script that your nervous system is still trying to follow, because social media told you that confusion is romantic and consistency is boring. None of that is your fault, but all is not your fault, right? But all of that, like, all of it is within your ability to understand, and understanding is the beginning of choosing differently. Awareness is power, guys. So the real question isn't why do I keep falling for confusing people. The real question is, what would I have to believe about myself to think that I deserve clarity? You need you need it. Because most of the time when we are chasing someone who doesn't quite choose us, we are also not fooling, we're not choosing ourselves. That's just true. And we are putting our worth on the line of whether they come back, whether they text, whether they finally decide. We are enough, we're constantly expecting, and that's an outsourced sense of self-worth. And that is like a very, very painful place to live. And the work, like the real work, is not finding someone who doesn't confuse you. The work is becoming someone who knows themselves well enough that confusion doesn't feel like chemistry, guys. Like, it should not feel like, oh, we have such a nice chemistry. Like, it should not feel like that. And yeah, okay, I'll leave you all with these three things. Number one, your feelings are not embarrassing, they are neurological. The intensity of what you feel for someone who confuses you is real. It's just being triggered by the wrong mechanism. Number two, patterns can change, attachment styles shift, your nervous system can learn new things, but only if you're willing to get a little uncomfortable with what feels comfortable. Number three, clarity is not boring, consistency is not settling. Someone who shows up in the same way on Monday as they do on Saturday is not less exciting, and they are safe. And safety is not the absence of passion, safety is what allows you to fully and actually be with someone. Okay, this is a wrap up. We're going to open up for questions. If you have any, throw anything in the chat or unmute yourself and just feel free to speak. No question is too small, too personal, or too weird. I mean, this is a safe space, guys. If you have a question, that's fine. Otherwise, I think RV has already dropped the feedback form, so you can just fill that. And yeah, that's it from my end.
Yeah, so we're gonna wait for the questions.
IDK, wait, I'm sorry. What is it? It was actually very relatable, especially the attachment styles and the variable ratio and reinforcement. It was something I'm going through right now, and it helped me a lot to know what I am supposed to do. Love the session. Yay, way to go, Ithika Agarwal. Okay. Thank you so much that you loved it. And I'm really grateful that it helped you. If you have more questions, just ask. It's fine.
Guys, there's one more thing. You guys can also drop your topic suggestions. So, like this topic, let's say Dika found it very relatable. So, you guys can drop such topics that you guys want us to talk about.
Yeah, we can totally do that next time. Is
All
there any suggestion from you guys on what topic we should do? Grief.
grief. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a very good topic we haven't touched yet. How to deal with grief.
Yeah, we can do that, surely. Can you write it down somewhere, Arvi?
Actually, I've dropped the feedback form. In there, we do have subjective questions, so they can, type in their recommendations there as well.
Okay, sure.
So, I hope this session gave you all some sort of clarity or at least made you feel a little more understood. Thank you once again, Guneet, for such an insightful session. And again, please fill out the feedback form. It only takes a minute and, of course, means a lot to us. It helps us improve importantly. You all may leave after filling the form, and thank you all once again. I hope to see you guys next time as well. We also plan on having consistent workshops now.